Howdy everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Between Two Worlds. Today I'm here with Derailious, one of our more public-facing dev members. How are you today, Rail?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Where are we?
We're in the Verdant Remnants, but not the main strike version. No, because the two of us would be doomed in such a place. We're in the story strike. We're just gonna be running around today and talking and having a good time.
Very good. And you had some part to play in the development of this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It started off as a bit of a build shard project between me and a number of people. At first, it was me and Noel, and then Osaw showed up, and other figures like MG34, Zale, 1 in 10. Just a ton of different people sort of contributed in one way or another. That's why I think this probably has one of the longest builder credit boards overall, just because so many people have been part of this project.
Nice. Why don't you tell us all what you do on the team?
I do a number of different things, mostly building, although I'm trying to venture out and do other things currently right now. I also do some of the videos. Recently, I've been working on a number of videos for R3. The Charms video was me, and I have stuff planned in the future for video content. I'd also do a bit of marketing in terms of helping out with YouTube and tags and creating, just overall a larger group of people on Monumenta. That's always been my goal, to make the server a bit bigger and get some more people on here, because it's a nice place,
Agreed. I'm sure there are several people watching now that are like, hey, I found it because of your videos.
Yeah, it's always really nice to see, people say, oh, I'm here, because of you. It's always one of the best feelings. I feel like a lot of the development team, though, has situations like that, whether it be from, other games entirely. I know a lot of people have come from Windcraft, to other people who have come from Skyblock and have told their friends to show up, or people who have been here for years and on forums and things like that. I actually joined through a forum. I think it was War who commented on a forum, Warwolf, and I joined because of him.
Subreddit, I think, yeah.
Yeah, subreddit or something similar. Yeah, it was interesting.
And as we go, if there's anything, because you had such a hand in building this place, something cool dev commentary, something that you want to note, tell people about, just stop me and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can start right now. This area was actually redone twice in development. Originally it was much more narrow, and all the hallways were much more reminiscent of Myst than what you currently see. A lot more focused on that hallway gameplay. I didn't really like it. I felt like it was too similar to Myst, so I ended up changing it out. And I also decided to connect a lot of the buildings and hallways together to kind of give it a more cohesive feeling, but also a bigger feeling of exploration, because a lot of people, especially when the main strike came out, there was a lot of experimentation on what people should do to get the fastest overall times, or to beat it as fast as possible. It was a lot going on, so it was really cool to see all that actually play out the way I wanted it to.
Very good. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into the patrons' questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like I just go through a routine lately. I've been falling into those, so I'm going to change up the order a little bit. But first one, how'd you come up with your username?
My username, that's a funny story. It just sort of showed up one day. Well, not really showed up. I just thought of it one day. I had a really cringy little child username. It was lolman. When I was 8 years old, and I got my first Xbox 360.
Dude,
I was using that.
Yes, Xbox is the beginning for everyone.
Xbox 360 to PS4 to PS5 is the main thing I've noticed. But yeah, I got a cringy little username. I was lolman194. That was originally my Minecraft username as well. And one day I turned 13 or 14 and decided, you know what, I'm growing up, because 13 and 14 is obviously the age where you start, gaining some level of maturity.
Oh, of course.
And
right.
I was like,
Very
I need a more mature username. So, yeah, it was back in 2016, I think I changed it to Derailious. I just sort of came up with it. Some people had mentioned that H2O Delirious is similar to that. Had I gotten I decided to steal his username, but no, because I never actually watched the guy until well, I haven't actually watched him at all, but I never actually have heard about the guy until after, which is weird, because I know he's a very popular figure on YouTube, or at least was back 5-6 years ago. So it's interesting that I didn't know about this guy. But yeah, that's my username story.
It's a good one.
Yeah, pretty funny, I'd say.
How bad's your caffeine addiction?
My caffeine addiction? It's not particularly bad. I would say it's worse since I started college. Um, I would be craving a coffee at like 8 p.m. and that's when I know things have gotten bad. But I've mostly eased myself off of it. I would say it wasn't really that terrible.
Very nice. You have any cool scars and a story that goes with them?
Yeah, I have a scar. It's not really a cool story. It's just kind of like how, when I was like a baby, like a tiny little baby idiot. I was in the car, I guess, and I accidentally like hit myself with the car seat, like the seatbelt, and I like
Oh, like
splunged myself
whipped
a little
along.
bit, yeah, and that just like hurt a little bit. But yeah, now there's a little tiny little scar on my stomach. It's still there. It doesn't hurt or anything, and I don't even think it was that bad when it happened. It's just sort of never healed up. I don't really have any other scars. I never really was involved in sports too much when I was a kid because I never liked getting dirty. I was like a germaphobe when I was a child, which is weird because I'm not one now, and I never really wanted to involve myself with that. So I never really like broke any bones or had any scars or anything like that.
Nice. Maybe you drank so much milk that your just bones are invincible now.
Yeah,
That was probably it. That's
yeah. I did eat nothing but cereal every day for like years and years. Just good old milk and some cereal. So maybe my bones are just
amazing.
invincible.
It's basically a superpower at that point.
Yeah, it's just, now your bones are invincible, but the problem is you have like too much calcium.
Do you have any thoughts on some of the upcoming updates to Monumenta?
Oh, I
Specifically
have
the Deep
I have a
Dark?
lot of
Oh, cool. Do tell.
Yeah, I think that a lot of stuff that they're doing, I assume you meant Minecraft since you said the
Yes.
Deep Dark. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Updates.
A lot of
What
that
would
stuff.
be the alternatives? Like updates to what else?
Well,
Could I
yeah.
have it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said Monumenta, so I thought you meant R3 for a second. I was gonna be like, oh man, he's going in already. But for Minecraft as a whole, I'm fairly hesitantly excited. I do feel like Mojang has been a bit wishy-washy in some recent years. They've been more focused on things that I would call the marketplace and not like actual development stuff. I'm also kind of terrified of recently their player chat reporting stuff because I do not trust their ability to accurately report players. I've also like in the video I made about it on my main channel, I got comments from people saying, "Yeah, this already exists on Bedrock and if you like curse or like say anything remotely profane or talk about like alcohol in the most basic way, they'll just ban you from playing the game for a week." And I saw even people on Twitter posting that if the same thing happens to you but you're on console, they will lock you out of your single player worlds too, which is
Oh, I
like
didn't know it was that bad.
absurd to me. Yeah, I'm like, that's absurd. Like, even if you get banned from multiplayer, no way should that impact your ability to play, single player. But,
I
what
wonder
do
if
I know, I guess.
I wonder about like the bars here in Monumenta if that would be
Yeah, we have
controversial.
to we have to get rid of them. We have to replace it all with grape juice or
Yeah.
fruit juice of some sort.
Remove the axe to nail requirement from the quest because we're encouraging alcoholism.
Yeah, we're just terrible people, Ari,
It's true. It's true. Ours is a very like R-rated game.
Of course.
We'd get an NC-17 rating if we ever submitted it to the ESRB.
Oh man. Yeah. So that's the majority of my thoughts. Some of the updates look cool. I like the Warden, but I'm a little skeptical. And more of their marketing direction, I would say I'm skeptical
Sure.
of.
Well, since you wanted to talk about Monument updates, yeah, tell us without revealing super secrets.
I
What are you
mean, I'm
excited
excited. I will mention the thing that was posted in Patrons. I am working on a strike currently, and it has a lot of spawners. I think the exact count was 369 as we last checked, which was a lot of them. I think it's bigger than SR by over 100 spawners, so I'm excited for it. I think players will love it. And to quickly abate some fears, it is going to be a 6-player strike. No, I am not expecting 4 people to go in and break 400 spawners. That'd be insane. I don't actually know how many Sanctum has. Maybe Sanctum has more. Sanctum is pretty large. But yeah, that's the stuff I'm working on and I'm excited about. And I'm excited about stuff in general. I think R3 has had a lot of teasers and stuff so far, and I think they really do it justice as to the build quality and the general quality that we're aiming for with
Have you been a part of any of the playtests that we've been doing?
Not any major playtests, but I've been doing some solo playtesting of like locations and POIs and stuff, and I'm fairly happy with everything, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Very
This is
hype.
the good part.
What is your favorite subject in school, and has it affected your development of Monumenta in any way?
Yeah, I would say it has. My favorite subject in school was actually history. And I love like specifically Roman history. I just love it. And also
Ooh.
I love stuff coming afterwards, more into like the 1700s and 1800s and all that. But I'm really a Rome guy, stereotypical. So that was my favorite subject in school. And I would say it's affected a few things about Monumenta, notably in my build style, which I tend to keep very linear. And I think that's part of the fact that I've just looked at so many Roman buildings, which are very linear and very column based, that I just am like interested in that style specifically. I watch people like Wonder Sim and Tatsu do these like beautiful curved buildings, and I try it, and I'm like, man, I cannot do this. But yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite subject.
Very cool. How did you? Well, two questions. How did you first get into the Roman history section?
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel on YouTube called Historia Civilis, which I think if translated means civil history, but I'm not certain. But it basically covers.
It's wrong.
If it doesn't, then I don't know what it could mean. But it covers Roman history in a very interesting way through the life of Julius Caesar and past, and also before then when it was the Roman kingdom and not a republic, and also some stuff in the middle. And I really like that channel. I think it presents the interesting parts of it without sounding like a documentary where it's just like, hitting you with point after point where you don't really get to think. It kind of gives you like almost a dramatic, not retelling because it is actually the events that occurred, but a dramatic telling of the story, which in a lot of ways is very political and very similar to stuff we see today. Like if you watch it, you will see like the characters act like almost like politicians today, which I think is interesting.
That's a great answer. Very cool. The second question, you said it was stereotypically? Like, why is that stereotypical to be interested in?
So there's this general consensus among I follow a few history accounts on like Instagram, and then I did more in the past. And there was this stereotypical like Rome freak, which is like the stereotypical. So there's three types of like stereotypical history nerds, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's people who love World War II, it's people who love
yeah.
Rome, and then it's people who hate both of them and think that both of those people are losers.
That's great.
So I fall into the stereotypical
normies.
Rome freak. Yeah, the normies.
That's great. I thought you were making a joke about like Italians in New York and Italians like the Roman heritage. I was reaching way too hard.
There certainly is a lot of Italians here, that's for sure. Especially where I live. Oh man.
That's fun.
I can't walk more than 5 feet without seeing a pizza shop.
Sounds like heaven.
Yeah, it is. It's nice.
What's the piece of content that you've helped with that you dislike the most?
Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, I have built a few TOV locations, but I feel like my involvement in TOV is so limited that I can't use that as an answer. And the main reason I dislike TOV is just because I'm not good at it. But if I had to say major piece of content that I actually dislike the most, I don't know. It's interesting. That's an interesting question. I don't really dislike anything that I've made, but of the two major things that I've worked on, which have been Depths and this, I would say I don't like this as much as Depths, because Depths is just perfect in every way.
Yeah.
Because Shadow Visions had to one-up me, as he always does. But yeah, I'd say that it would probably be this then, which is ironic since this is the thing that I led.
They're both very, very good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying that I like this probably less than Depths a little bit.
Perfect.
Simply because of the replayability.
Well, that kind of ties into our next question. What piece of Monumenta content is your favorite? What is your least favorite, and why for both?
Okay, so my favorite is Depths because I, once again, feel like it's perfect in every way. It feels like a whole different game, which is cool. And I really like that. My least favorite piece of content over the last few months has varied slightly. It's TOV is something I dislike, but I don't like actively revile it. or in any way. It's just kind of there, so it doesn't really bother me in any way. But I've actually gone to disliking, I guess, the
Testing. Can you hear me?
Forsworn Sanctum as a strike. I didn't like it as a dungeon, and as a strike, I feel like it makes some mistakes. Notably, the fact that it has just way too many vines everywhere, which makes it incredibly hard to actually fight things. But I might go in there and get rid of some of the vines myself to alleviate that problem.
Dev privilege.
Dev privilege, being able to log on this dev server and just immediately fix any problems you may have with the game.
Yeah.
It's nice.
That's funny because that ties into the next question, which is if you could just become the dictator of Monumenta for a day, like no one could resist any of your design decisions, what would you change about either piece, the one that you dislike or the one that you like?
All right, so what I would do for depths is I would probably, I think I've talked about this a few times, is where I would move it to also be accessible from the very beginning as like a sort of piece of demo content, or almost have its own separate world, and give players like some level of starter gear, and also add like the ability to upgrade gear as you keep going. So obviously this is for new players, and just let them see like what devs is, because I feel like it's just exceedingly cool. And my biggest problem with it is that you have to get to R2 to play it, which
Story
I think
depths.
is a non-issue. Yeah, like story depths. It'd be interesting. For Sanctum, what I would probably do is it would probably require a just layout fix. I would probably change it to look more like to Kasav, which is the little city that you find when trying to do the Elder Scrolls quest.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
I think I would re-layout it to make it more fit to be a strike, because I feel like that's its biggest problem. I like the boss. I think the boss is okay. Maybe tweak it a little to be more forgiving. But I think stuff like that has already happened once or twice over the last few months. So yeah, I think that's probably what I would do to both of those pieces of content.
Very nice. What is the most difficult bug or just development problem that you've ever encountered?
Okay. So the most difficult bug, and I'll talk about this now, is probably one that we're currently facing or have been facing with R3. And I think we talked about this with our little mini Q&A thing that we did a little while back, which is like Krondus was pulling his hair out over this, and I thought it was very funny. Where all the POIs that were placed in negative coordinates are moved a block left and a block back, or something like that. That thing is so terrible, because once it happens once, automatically now there's a border of the POI that is just off. And even if you fix it, now the blocks are doubled, so you have to go in and fix it by hand. So that was scary, seeing that happen to like all the POIs in Region 3. So that needs to be fixed up, but we have a solution in mind. But just those few days where we didn't have the solution in mind were just terrifying, because like we could just move it like a block over to account for the fact that it's wrong. But if we do that and it gets fixed one day, then everything's broken, and we still have to fix the problem anyway, which is the blocks being off. So yeah, that's probably the worst dev problem, and it's ironic that it's such a recent one. Actually, wait, I can think of another one, but this isn't a bad dev problem, it's just more of an interesting one. When Depths was in development and Shadow first got the rooms actually moving, there was just an infinite line of, I think, bedrock that went off in one direction at the bottom, right corner. They just, I could probably in the comments of this video link a miniature video of me just showing off this thing. It's just a line of bedrock that goes off infinitely in one direction, and no one could explain why it was there, because it made no logical sense. Like, nothing in the code said that should be a thing that happens, but it did happen. Yeah, it was so strange.
That's awesome. I
Yeah,
forgot about that one.
That one's probably the most interesting one.
Do you want to go ahead and get moving on the strike?
Yeah, sure. We're about halfway through the place.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we're probably going to
We could just do another one if anything.
Yeah,
I could just buy another game. Solutions.
Sounds good. Yeah. When did you become a dev first? I forgot when you started.
I think it was March of 21, so I've been here over a year and 3 months at this point, which doesn't actually feel like a lot. I feel like I've done a lot in that time.
Yeah, you have. I kind of felt like you'd been here longer.
Yeah.
Wild.
Been here a decent amount of time.
So when you first started, did you feel like you had to be perfect?
Was
there stress about that?
Actually, I would say no. I had known a lot of the devs and worked pretty closely with a lot of them at this point. Like with Shadow, I've worked with a lot. I've worked with you on some stuff with YouTube, and I've worked with a number of people on the team at that point. So I never really felt like the need to be perfect because I kind of already had like not dev privilege because I wasn't a dev, but some level of like interaction with you guys. So I knew you guys as people and knew that like, things would be okay even if I made a mistake, which was nice.
Well, I'd love to hear that. What is something that you regret regarding Monumenta? It could be something that happened that you wish didn't happen, or something that has never happened that you wish could.
I'm trying to think. Actually, I think my answer is not the answer that I think Krondus would expect. But there's a huge thing over the spawner reprime stuff where me and Krondus got pretty heated at each other, and that was pretty bad. But that's actually not what I wish didn't happen, because I feel like in the end it inspired some good change, whether that be in game and how the team views the community. So I think that inspired some good stuff. So I wouldn't actually vote. That would be the thing I wouldn't want. My biggest problem would be not capitalizing hard enough and pushing hard enough right when the parting veil started to improve the early game, and that was my fault because we'd made a lot of really great changes, like updating Searhaven and making sure that things look pretty. Also, now we're going to blow up if we don't run to the end, so we gotta.
Sorry, I forgot that was how this works.
Yeah.
I have not run this very many times.
Yeah, it's fun. Then we have to go beat up Masked Man.
Hooray! My bad. Yeah, we'll definitely do another one.
But the thing that I wanted to talk about was not capitalizing hard enough on either server infrastructure and trying to double down on that, or moving to the world system faster, because it felt like, I don't know, we had like 200 players on for a decent amount of time during those summer months, which was crazy stuff for us. But I feel like we lost a lot of them due to the lag, which was fairly bad over that summer, and also the just the way that the early game looked, which I think a lot of people didn't like.
Wait.
Oh no, Aristotle blew up.
Did
I'll
not
kill
expect
Cool.
that.
I'll kill
Yeah,
Masked
good
Man
luck.
real quick.
Huh.
But yeah.
I did not know that could take me from full.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I noticed people complain about with Story Strike, is that thing murders you.
Yeah, well, we'll be doing another.
Yeah, for sure.
Good answers. Yeah. Let's see. What is the biggest thing you've had to scrap, if anything?
Trying to think. That's interesting. That's a good question. Biggest thing I had to scrap. Oh yeah, I had an idea. I put it in player polling for a fishing rework. It's not scrapped, like I could work on it in the future, but I had to put it on hold because the R3, obviously.
Cool. Who's your favorite other team member?
My favorite other team member, huh? I'd say a lot of people, honestly. I don't really have like a favorite team member because I'm friends, like close friends with a number of them. But if I had to put a list out of people that I was like really, I would say close friends with, it would be people like Kat. It would be people like Shadow, Delphi, Osauce for sure. Trying to think about who else. Pi. So yeah, just a lot of groups of people in Viz, and people not necessarily within Zig as well. So yeah, those are probably the people I'm closest with when it comes to that. Also, I'm out of the place now, so we can go into the lobby and grab another key.
I'm on Valley 2 if you want to hop over here.
Yeah, I'll just grab a Inner Sanctum key first.
Might be a leading question because I have a guess about this. Do you have a favorite bit of drama that's happened in Monumenta?
Favorite bit of drama. Man, I feel like I showed up and there was a bit of drama. My favorite bit of drama probably is the spawner reprime stuff, because looking back on it, a lot of it's really funny, and what came out of it, like with Apotheosis, was hilarious afterwards. I thought it was really funny. And looking back on the obtuse thing and how it's become kind of a meme is also funny. So yeah, I think that's probably my favorite. Just because, like, at the time, people were genuinely upset about it, but I don't think anyone is now at all, and just thinks it was a really funny time.
I appreciate that you didn't have a bad attitude about me making your emoji to vote for you an angle.
Yeah, no, I don't. I thought it was really funny.
I think that's a sign we've all moved on.
Yeah, well, it's also just really good to make fun of yourself and to laugh at things that happened a while ago.
Absolutely. What is your most embarrassing skill issue moment
Ooh.
in
Um,
Monumenta?
I can think of a couple things that have happened that have been like incredible skill issue moments. There were times when I first started where I cleared out the entirety of yellow, like the ending part. And all I had to do was make a 1 block jump from the last, like, over void section to the end. And I had all the keys on me, all 4 of them. Because, why wouldn't I? Because I thought this would be easy, because I had already
Sure,
cleared it out. I
sure.
might as well take them all with me.
Oh
I fall
dear.
in the void, die, and lose everything, because this was before Graves V2. And I was like, man. So now I was also locked out of completing the entire dungeon for a week, which is terrible at the time.
I think that's the most skill issue I've heard so far. You've
Yeah.
won.
That it was terrible.
I'm
I
so
was
sorry.
I was sad about it for like hours. I was inconsolable. It was really funny though.
I'm glad you're still here. That's the kind of thing that would make some people rage quit the whole game.
Yeah, I won't lie. I did leave for a bit. I think actually I left for almost a year because I started playing in like
Woo!
2019. And then I left and then rejoined right around March 2020. Which is crazy. So yeah, I think I did actually rage quit for a decent amount of time, but it wasn't permanent. I'm back.
Perfectly reasonable. Yeah, yeah. Since all dev work is voluntary, what keeps you motivated to keep making stuff?
Players for sure, but also other people telling me that if I don't work on things, and by that I mean Shadow Visions, that R3 is doomed. Definitely a mix of players keeping me motivated and Shadow Visions guilt tripping, which is always a.
I know he is our boss, but you can always just give him a good old okay doomer.
Yeah, I could give him one of those, but I just like the players too much to ever, consider stopping work on this because it's fun. It's nice to work on this. Plus, I see the fact that we're on the precipice of potentially having a huge spike in player growth, which is nice and very cool to be at.
What is the cause of that spike? Potential spike?
Well, R3 for one.
Yeah.
New major content release is always enough to draw players back or to draw players to the game, but it's also a lot of the changes that we've been making, and also the ability for us to grow as a team. We've grown a lot in recent months, and I think that's going to pay off over the next year or two, with a lot of new content and also a lot of potentially improvements to things, which is nice.
Very good. You have origins with CTMs, right?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about that. How'd you find them? What are your favorite CTMs?
So,
Who's your favorite map makers? All that.
I haven't played too much. I will say I started playing CTMs back in like 2011. Spellbound Caves was my first CTM.
Yeah.
And of the
same.
CTM maps, I would say it was probably my favorite Vex map because it's one of the only good ones. But it was fun. It was good. It was a great time. I would say that was definitely up there as one of my favorite CTMs. But I also was in Show, especially Show when it first released. I was a decent fan of Vex's at the time, and Minecraft as well. So I had signed up to join Show. I'd paid Vex my $5 to get in, and Show was cool for a bit. Show 1.0 seemed to have like a really, I don't know, almost Monumenta-esque vibe to it, in a way that I feel like Show.
Back then, right?
Yeah, it was survival. There was, an overworld, and there was all these like miniature dungeons that they had, which was cool. But I don't know. The vibe of the community was kind of similar to how it is today in a way, except all the moderators were like insane and like went after players for like the smallest things. There were so many dupe stashes on there. There were so many people like stealing stuff from other people. It was crazy. But it was interesting. So yeah, that was my introduction to it. And when Show shut down a few years later, I had stopped obviously playing at this point. I looked for, a new server. I looked up, what are Show-like servers, and I think I saw War's comment on the forum or a subreddit that was equivalent to, yeah, there's this thing called Monumenta, you should try it out. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Because, Windcraft I had tried and I didn't really like it. So yeah.
Very nice. Have you kept up with the CTM releases of late? Like last
No.
4 years? Okay.
Not at all. I had not really been someone active in the CTM community.
Gotcha. Someone asked about like how you feel about the modern CTM model, and I guess I'll skip that one then.
Yeah.
Let me get out of combat and then read these. What is left on those? Yeah, I think that's all the patron questions. They can get upset at me if I miss someone. So, generic ones. Tell me about why Monumenta means a lot to you. Why is this game special?
I actually, this is something that I don't know if I can reasonably answer. It definitely has a vibe that I can't really, like, put into words. That's different than, like, any other game that I've played, which I like. I guess I could say it's because it's tight-knit, but I think if the server was bigger, it wouldn't necessarily lose that vibe either. I think it's just the way things are made and produced on this server are so unique to, like, how most bigger projects actually function that it, like, draws my eye automatically, which is something. I also think that another thing I like about this is the combat, because it somehow takes Minecraft combat, which is not deep at all, and makes it incredibly deep with a lot of skill required, and makes Minecraft an actually difficult game, which I think is interesting by itself. So yeah, those are probably my two answers to that.
Well said. Agreed. What do you like to do outside video games?
I do a number of things, mostly obviously video editing, which is something I've been trying to work on a lot, but also working on marketing stuff for future projects that I want to work on. I have ideas for stuff with YouTube and things of that nature. I read a decent amount. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. I don't know. I'm a basic Zoomer. I don't really know what to say beyond that. I don't really. I read a lot of general stuff about history, a lot of stuff from like the works of Cicero and other Roman historians who have basically written down the history of Rome. As you could tell, I'm a Rome nerd.
Very nice. Do you like to read like primary sources generally, or
Yeah,
stuff
of
like,
course. A lot of secondary sources. Bill Bennett.
I don't. Shoot, I'm forgetting. There's a great historian who has written a lot on like Wars of the Romans.
Yeah, I think it might be Bill Bennett. I'm not 100% certain, but I usually read first like primary sources. I tend not to rely on secondary ones.
That's awesome.
A lot of the time there's some level of embellishment, and I also would argue in a way I guess the primary sources are embellished because, you know, Cicero was a politician who just despised Caesar and the Caesarians, and just hated everything about their style of governance. So when writing about him in his later days, Cicero tended to be kind of a doomer in his own time. Like right before the Roman Civil War broke out, he wrote like, "Why are we even bothering to stop Caesar on this? We're going to kill so many, innocent Romans for something that doesn't even matter in the long run." He was just a doomer, and it was kind of funny.
That should be on the jacket of a book. Cicero was a doomer.
Cicero was a doomer. Yeah.
I dig that. What has surprised you most about making Monumenta?
How like chill the development team is, I would say. Definitely a pretty chill place. There isn't really too much drama that occurs within the development team. There is a decent amount that occurs like between the development team and the players, just because I think players don't really understand like what we're like. I think players think of us the way that I don't know how to describe this properly. Let me think for a second. Players think of us the same way that they think of like not AAA studios, but indie studios. And we're also very different from an indie studio in that an indie studio fundamentally is also trying to make money with their game, and is also fundamentally trying to do everything they can to appease their core audience, where I think as a lot of Monumenta devs make the game not for themselves first, but with themselves in mind as well. And that's like a almost inconsolable difference in indie game dev and us, which is much more volunteer project based.
Yep. If you don't like what you're making, there's no reason to make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well said. What is your fondest memory playing Monumenta and developing Monumenta?
Playing Monumenta, I can think of a number of times. There was the FPF summer, which was last summer. That there was just like a ton of recruitment going on within the guild, and there was just like 20 or 30 people that we recruited that summer, and all of them were great people. And we would just run through every single dungeon delve every single week for like 6 weeks that summer.
That's awesome.
Like
How many
from
points typically?
like 18 to 22 for every single one, with 8 people in them or more. Sometimes we would have like 15 people in a dungeon. We didn't care about the loot at that point. We were just going with like 16 people, 15 people in a dungeon just to obliterate the place. It was really great.
Awesome. I love that. How about making it? Happiest memory making it?
The release of Depths was awesome. Release of Verdant was also awesome. Me and Osa sat in a call watching the first team. I think it was Emily's team, Emily Vivo, or Emily Loaf now, and Python and a couple others. I don't know if it was Emily's team, but I know Python was there. But they obliterated the place in like 5 minutes, and it was just so cool to see them conquer it and to watch it and also stream it live. It was really nice.
Cool. Do you have a favorite video game outside Minecraft?
Yeah, Portal 2.
Nice.
Best puzzle game ever, and I would argue one of the best games ever made in general. Just an excellent overall experience. Up there, I would also say Terraria is there as one of the best games ever, especially modded Terraria. Oh, it's so much fun. And Fallout New Vegas, which I think is a basic answer, but I don't think it's my favorite game of all time. Probably my favorite story-based game of all time.
I don't think that's very basic at all. That seems like a kind of a patrician answer. That's
Yeah.
the least mainstream of the new ones. Anyway, cool. Good taste. Did you, since you named Portal 2 so quickly, or did you have much? How many rooms of Scientists of either Steel Mill did you make?
I made one room for SOS 2. I've done some stuff with that, but I wasn't there for SOS 1. I wasn't a dev yet, so I never actually made it. But I would have done it a lot. I would love to make more in the future if that's what we decide to do.
Very nice. How about some of your other favorites? Movie, TV shows, band,
Wasn't
color?
really color. I would probably say some variation of darker blue, which is I think is also a fairly easy answer. Don't really watch much television. Don't really have a favorite TV show. For movie, can't go wrong with Die Hard. Con Air is also a pretty good movie as well.
Nice.
Trying to think about other stuff. Band. I'm into music about as not very deeply, I'd say. I don't really have a favorite band, I would say.
Or musical artist, if it's not like a conventional band. Could be a classical composer if you wanted.
Classical I'm not really into. I would say of people I've listened to recently, probably I listened to a lot of indie music recently, so I would say people like Ricky Montgomery are good. But I also like a lot of like romantic songs, so that's just me.
Can you give an example?
Oh man, we're venturing on embarrassment territory. You can just look at anything that Ricky Montgomery. I guess that's fair. You can look at anything that Ricky Montgomery has posted, and you can just see that like I am the most hopeless of hopeless romantics.
Nice. I'll check him out. Ricky Montgomery. Yeah. What do you draw from most in your work here at Monumenta?
That's a good question. Probably my time. I worked on. Oh man, this is gonna be a talk. So when I was like 14 and did not like use PC Minecraft much and was still on like my PS4 days and my Xbox 360 days, I had created a miniature MMO fully in vanilla Xbox 360 Minecraft, which by the way does not have commands. So I had to do most of the stuff myself and set everything up myself, which was terrifying and also horrible to do. But I got a lot of it working. I even had a little dumb little miniature boss fight, which was like a giant pixel art ghast that was 3-dimensional. The whole bit was that like there were like potions that would be dropped on the ground at certain intervals based on dispensers, and players had to stand in the right like zone, otherwise they'd get damaged or whatever. Well, a ton of mobs were coming at them, which by the way I had to summon in myself because spawners weren't a thing that you could even get. So yeah, it was something. I would say that's what I draw from a lot.
That is
that
adorable.
Sort of that little amateur creativity. Which I really liked.
Did you ever get to present that to someone else? Did anyone?
Yeah, me and my friends at the time, us 13-year-old dumb little people, were playing a lot in groups. It was fun. It's a good time.
So 13. So you had already played CTMs by then.
Yeah, that was what I was drawing from that. So I would say it's all goes back to basic CTM stuff.
Very good. Let's go ahead and we're coming to the end of the questions, so let's try to finish the strike.
Yeah.
Tell us something about you that none of us would ever think to ask you in the first place. Think of it like a wild card question. Or phrased differently, what do you wish I'd asked? So you could have an excuse to talk about it.
I really am into astronomy and space and trying to, I don't know, I've always been interested in like how something like so incomprehensibly vast could even like be a thing that exists, right? Because you're sitting here on on Earth, right? And it's like there's so much out there that we just don't know, like about the universe, and it's just so interesting to me.
Tell me about that more. Like, what about astronomy aside from its vastness is fascinating?
Well, it's the vastness and also the alien nature of it, and I'm not trying to use that word in a pun sort of manner. It's more so like the idea that there's just so much in general on this entire universe, and most of it is stuff we'll never even be able to see because of stuff like redshifting and things like that, which is just crazy to me.
Want to tell us about redshifting?
Yeah, so the further away something is, or when stuff is moving away from us. I'm not an engineer, I'm a business major, so forgive me if this answer is incorrect to any degree. But when stuff is moving away from us, especially at a high speed, and it's already very far away, visually it appears redder because it's being moved on the light spectrum, which goes from like radio waves, or I guess it's not light spectrum, it's just a wave system. From like things like radio waves at the one end to gamma waves on the other end. Light is somewhere in the middle, and it goes from red to orange to yellow to violet all the way at the other end. So red is on the lower end, and then there's infrared, which is stuff we can't see, which is the next level. So when stuff is red shifted, it's being moved on that spectrum, and it moves as it's moving away. Things will be red shifted, and things that would be coming close to us very quickly would be blue shifted. We don't really have any examples of that in real life because nothing really moves that fast and is that close, because that'd be pretty terrifying if something like that was real. But the closest example I can get is something like a gamma ray burst, which is just a super fast, super hot beam of heavily heated up particles moving incredibly quickly. And if you look at that from like some sort of special microscope, or not microscope, like just telescope, I guess, you would be able to see that it is incredibly almost blue or purple, almost like incomprehensibly blue and purple, which I think is interesting. That's one of the things I really like about astronomy. It's just like how it's so very vast that like effects and ideas that we can't even comprehend. Also, I broke the thing, so we should get running. Could even like exist, which is interesting.
That's great explanation. I honestly did not know about that, so that was new to me. Let's make sure to get that. There you go.
Yeah.
We're still missing one.
Are we?
This is so sad. Oh, mine says spawner's broken.
Wait, what? Why does yours say spawner's broken?
Spawner's broken 74 to 75.
That's so interesting. Do we actually need to break spawners to get this? I thought you could just start
I
it.
didn't think so, but I was.
Wait, I guess you have the actual strike versions thing on your head, which is weird. That's interesting. I don't even know how that would happen. Weird bug. We'll talk about that later, I guess, internally.
I guess so. Neat. So, actually, yeah, we'll wait until we're done. There's only one last question.
Alrighty.
Which is very appropriately the wrap-up.
Nice. Man, I saw some of the interviews were like an hour and 30 minutes long. I feel like mine's comparatively short.
Yeah. It's 40 minutes. Some people just really wanted to expound on certain things.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel bad for Kat, because his was the first one, and like when we were pushing 20 minutes, I was trying to cut it short because I had no frame of reference. Now that is
Poor Kat.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a wrap up, re-interview with him.
That'd be fun to do. I think he would love to do that. Yeah, Cat's also done a lot more with R3, and I feel like if we get close to that time, a lot more will be able to be shown off, so that would be a great idea, actually. He'd be able to talk a lot more about what he's done and what he's made.
Very nice. Good strike, sir. Well made.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else that you want to talk about? Just generic closing thoughts, statements, anything you want to say to the players?
Sure, yeah. So to the players, R3 is coming kind of soon. We're excited. We're ready. We just want you guys to be able to enjoy it as much as we have enjoyed developing it. Yeah, thanks for watching and sticking till the end of this. That's insane that you guys would want to hear someone ramble for this long. I'm really, you know, just happy with the success of this like little mini show though. I feel like it's made a lot of us more personal, which is nice. I feel like once again that problem that I described before, that players don't really like know the devs that well, and that leads to like some level of frustration with them. I think seeing us in this manner where we're just talking about embarrassing and stupid stuff makes us much more people, which is great. But yeah, thanks everybody.
Well said, lol, man.
Man.
Okay, actually, it's funny you should say that because I just realized I missed the very last patron question, which is also the most fun. What do you wish the player base would just stop doing, either because it's annoying or legitimately demotivating?
I wish that we could just destroy gameplay discussion. Like that entire like channel is a pain on this earth. Oh my gosh, man. There is just so many people in there who talk to each other like they know what they're talking about, and I'm just reading it and I'm just like, none of you know anything. If only you know that 4chan meme where it's like, if only you knew how bad things really were.
Exactly.
It's just that. It's like, if only you knew how bad things were. Oh, that's probably
funny.
my answer.
That's
to that.
a note to end on. Yeah, there we go. Thank you all so much, and also shut up. That's the quote from Derelius for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, man, for the interview. That was great.
Yeah, that was fun.
And thank y'all for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.